Hello, guys. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Witness Without Identity channel. So, guys, I want to show you a little clip from Good Morning Britain. It's going to be a clip where Lady Victoria Hervey is talking about her relationship with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, and how she was hanging out with all those elites and stuff like that. So it's quite interesting because when I look at the interview, Lady Victoria Hervey, she seems to kind of like wanting to hide for the criminal act of Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell. Let me know if I'm reading too much into it, but that's what I see. I see that she's trying to hide. They're asking her many questions, and you're gonna see more evidence of that. I'm gonna have another video again tomorrow, maybe, or later on tonight. But this video is focusing on this one clip of that video where she's talking about like the crime that when like about Prince Andrew. She's trying to like protect Prince Andrew. It's like they ask her about the interview, and she's like, if he was really guilty, he would not do the interview. So basically, she's basically saying that unequivocally, Prince Andrew is not guilty already. She made the decision. So that's what she basically saying, because she said that if he was guilty, he wouldn't do the interview. The reason why he did the interview is because he's not guilty. You know what I'm saying? No, really. Maybe some people make stupid move, and Prince Andrew just had an interview and he blew it, and that's just it. There's no reason for you to keep hiding for him. I don't understand those kind of friendship. Like, I mean, actually, I should understand. I'm a kind of a loyal guy also, but I think if the friendship is going to the gutter, where we're talking about pedophile, I'm not saying to put the guy like under the bus, but you got to be more careful now. But she's kind of defending him, and you can see that. I want you guys to let me know what you think.
Jeffrey Epstein and Prince Andrew. I mean, that's an extraordinary dinner party for a young model like you to have attended. What was it like, that dinner?
Definitely. It was. I was excited to be there. It was. Yeah, I mean, I remember it. There was, some other businessmen that I know as well, that I've known over the years. But it was a very intimate, very intimate dinner, and it was
What were you
relaxed,
there
actually.
for, do you think? What was your purpose of being there as a guest?
I guess I was there to look pretty,
And I think you've mentioned before, Lady Victoria Hervey, that you think that specifically when you went over to the States, that perhaps your age protected you from anything else.
I don't think necessarily. I don't think 23 is exactly that old. I think he definitely probably went past 23. I had my boyfriend that I was with just before that was a good friend of Ghislaine's, and I think that probably kind of kept me protected.
I don't want to go on about this dinner, but it's such an extraordinary collection of very high-powered people. How did they all interact with Epstein? How did Trump, Clinton, and Prince Andrew interact with him?
Everyone was very, very pally with him, he was a very well-liked guy. Like, you could see that, the sort of the chemistry between him and all these other powerful people. Like, it was like there was close bonds. You could see that.
You dated Prince Andrew briefly. Tell us about that.
It was not really. I mean, we had a couple of dinners together.
When you watched the Prince Andrew interview, what did you make of it?
I mean, I watched it and I thought, well, first of all, there is no way, if he is guilty, that he would go onto television and do an interview like that. There's no way.
After Epstein had been convicted of paedophilia, of soliciting a 14-year-old girl for sex, after that had happened, Prince Andrew then goes to his home in New York for 4 days, is seen partying, lots of girls coming and going. He's seen walking around Central Park, and his explanation is it was convenient, as if there aren't enough five-star hotels in New York where you could stay. Princess Diana always stayed at the Carlisle, for example.
Yeah.
I mean,
and you moved out of one of the properties because you felt uncomfortable.
I know. I don't know. I think that was obviously like a huge mistake on his part, but to be honest, like when it came out in the press like 10 years ago, I don't even really remember it coming out in the press. It was a very small story. It was not on the front cover of newspapers. It was in like page 6. You know what I mean? It wasn't like a huge deal. It's only like this time around, obviously, it's like turned into like this massive.
So as you have seen, guys, you see the clip that, you know, Lady Hervey now is saying that basically, hey, you know, like Prince Andrew, no way is guilty. You wouldn't do an interview like that. There's no way he's guilty. So now she's defending Prince Andrew, and then now she goes and defend Jeffrey Epstein, like Prince Andrew hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein after he knows that the guy was guilty. He goes into his house for 4 days. Like, you know what I'm saying? Why would somebody hang out with a criminal for 4 days? If actually, let's look at it, let's be honest, guys. Let's not lie to each other. If you knew that somebody committed a crime, let's say anybody that's listening to this video, and you knew that they were a criminal, would you go back to their house and stay in their house for 4 days? Even if you were trying to break the friendship. Actually, I think if you're going to break the friendship, you're going to break it in 2 hours or 1 hour and say, hey, guys, I cannot hang out with you, man, because this crime that you have committed is a little bit too loud for me. And I'm going to trying to stay away from you until maybe this thing cools down, or maybe if you can fight it, you can fight it. But those allegations, I mean, it's not allegation. Actually, I shouldn't talk like that. It's not allegation. He was guilty. He was found guilty in a court in Florida. So he was sent to, you know, to jail now. So forget it. There's nothing. Basically, the guy is guilty. And you got to treat him like a criminal, like a pedophile. That's it. So why did Prince Andrew spend 4 days in that place? And now Lady Hervey is saying that basically, you know why? Because those days when that news came out that he was guilty of the crime of like prostitution, it wasn't the main news on the newspaper. Now listen to this carefully, right? Of course, she's probably right. It wasn't probably the main news on the newspaper, but think about it. Something that's not the main news on the newspaper does not mean it's not the main news on the circle. In the inner circle of Jeffrey Epstein, Prince Andrew, Ghislaine Maxwell, that's probably a high, very, very high news, because this is the circle that's been hit by this news. This was a big news inside that circle. You can trust me on this. When they heard that Jeffrey Epstein was found guilty of prostitution and illegal prostitution and child trafficking, it was a big news. There was no way out of it. So Prince Andrew, unless he's a super dumb guy, goes and hang out in that house for 4 days, and now the lady Victoria Hervey is saying that, oh, it wasn't a big news. So you're saying that if the news never came out, you guys would have kept on doing it. So the newspaper is the one that like pushes up your moral value. Now the newspaper, everything blows up. Now you got to stay away from Prince Andrew because now everybody knows. No, it's not about that. At that time, when they arrested Prince Andrew and you knew that he was guilty, everybody in the circle knew that he was guilty. Prince Andrew doesn't. I mean, I don't think Prince Andrew dealing with Jeffrey Epstein has to go to the newspaper, CNN, to hear, oh, what happened to my friend Jeffrey Epstein? No, you talk to him, you hear the inner circle talk about the situation. He was in jail. That's a pretty big news. So the information comes out, what happened. That has to be inside his head. And then when he hears what happened, he still goes back into the house. I mean, that act of Prince Andrew going back in the house after Jeffrey Epstein was guilty, make him look so culpable. Like it looked like it was part of that, of this criminal ring. So I want you guys to let me know what you think, man. But you guys saw the video. You guys see that Lady Harvey say, hey, if it wasn't a big news, then maybe that's why he did that. Trust me, Prince Andrew knew exactly what was going on with Jeffrey Epstein, and he still went to that house. I do not know why, but he still knew. And I think he, I don't want to say that somebody is guilty, but I think he knew exactly what was going on, and that was a mistake from him to go back into that house. Have a good one, guys. If you don't mind, please subscribe. There's going to be more videos on Ghislaine Maxwell. I'm kind of like I'm trying to become an expert in this story. You want to hear more? Because the story is pretty amazing. Because Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, and many high-powered individuals were in dinner with Jeffrey Epstein. So this is pretty mysterious. Take care.